When trying to use the word art to describe a video game, it can be hard to make the connection. Sure, video games are fun and enjoyable and can have interesting plot lines and gorgeous graphics, and people like me can spend endless hours playing the ever-loving hell out of them, though there are a few that I would actually see as a true form of artistic brilliance. For me to see a game as a true masterpiece that could show the world that video games can be art, it needs a unique plot, beautiful visuals, and a gorgeous musical score, and just genuinely be a different experience. And ladies, gents, and others, that's exactly what I see with Shadow of the Colossus. Allow me to share with you my experiences with this stunning game. Shadow of the Colossus is a game developed by Team Ico and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was originally released for the PlayStation 2 and was first released in America on October 18, 2005, with Japan's release quickly following on October 27th under the title Wander in the Colossus. A remastered edition for the PlayStation 3 was recently released along with Team Ico's first game, Ico, in 2011. The game is directed and designed by Fumito Ueda and produced by Kenji Kaito. And damn, these guys knew what they were doing! It really shows considering how well received the game was, earning high ratings and several awards, such as Best Original Music and Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction, to name a couple. Ueda said that he wanted to create a unique game and show the gaming community how boss battles should be. I'd say they nailed it. The story of Shadow of the Colossus is interesting in that, while it is pretty straightforward, it is also rather vague. So, at the start of the game, our protagonist, Wander, along with his trusty steed Aggro and a body wrapped in a blanket, arrive in a place called the Forbidden Lands, and enter a large structure called the Shrine of Worship. Once they enter what appears to be the main chamber, Wander places the body upon a stone altar and removes the blanket, revealing the body of a young woman in white named Mono. Then a disembodied voice echoes throughout the chamber and is revealed to belong to a being called Dorman, who supposedly controls the souls of the dead. Wander explains that Mono was sacrificed for having a cursed fate of some sort, and asks Dorman to revive her. The being claims that it might be possible with that sword in Wander's possession, and proposes a deal. If Wander can defeat all of the colossi that inhabit the land, it may revive Mono. However, Dorman warns that the man may end up paying a heavy price. Adamant to revive the girl, Wander agrees without hesitation. Dorman tells him to raise his sword to the light and go in the direction in which the beams draw together. That's where the game begins, and where my telling of the story ends in order to avoid spoiling it. Unfortunately, it takes a while for more plot to kick in, and what does is pretty much major spoilers for the end. I will say though, the end of this game is bittersweet is probably the best word to use without giving away too much. Now, how exactly is it vague? Well, there isn't a lot of backstory, and it leaves a lot of unanswered questions, like how exactly did Wander obtain that sword? What was Mono's supposed cursed fate? What were their lives like before the events of this game? What were the Forbidden Lands like before they became forbidden? What exactly is Wander's relationship with Mono? Are they lovers, siblings, childhood friends? We never find out! Well, whatever their relationship, she clearly means a lot to Wander if he's willing to risk his life and face the Colossi and pay an unknown heavy price to revive her. The point of the game is to hunt down and defeat 16 colossal beings known as the Colossi. See, here's the thing that tends to turn people off about this game. Those are the only battles. Yeah, there's only 16 battles in this game. However, those 16 battles usually are not short by any means. In fact, each of those battles is a puzzle in itself that you'll end up spending a lot of your time trying to beat. The Colossi have at least one weak point marked by a glowing symbol on their bodies, and in order to defeat the thing, Wander needs to thrust his sword into that designated area, which is much easier said than done. As you can probably guess from their name, Colossi are huge. Sure, there are some smaller ones, but the smallest they get is about the size of an adult African elephant. The tallest could look directly into the face of Big Ben's clock, and the longest is estimated to be 557 feet long with a 200-foot wingspan. Yeah, these guys are massive, and they're not about to let you ruin their day and kill them. They will do everything they can to get you off of them, which makes it hard for Wander to hold on and stab them. And sometimes these guys don't hesitate to pummel you into submission until you're forced to let Wander die so you can start over. Celosia, I'm looking at you, you son of a bitch. When you're not busy trying to stab a Colossus to death, you'll be wandering the mostly barren wastelands as you look for them, with your sword acting as a compass to tell you which direction to go in. This also takes up quite a bit of time, sometimes just as much as the battles against the Colossi, because this world is so massive. Personally, I enjoy traveling such a massive and beautiful world as it gives you time to reflect on how you're doing so far, contemplate missing details in the story, and, well, it's just damn beautiful. However, this lengthy and silent time out in the field may understandably be annoying to some players if they just want to get to the Colossus and move on to the next. I feel I should also mention a few bothersome things in the gameplay. First, the frame rate. Unfortunately, the frame rate would drop significantly, and it usually happened during the battles, which is the worst possible time. However, it didn't really impact my personal enjoyment, but I know it bothers others. Thankfully, the frame rate on the PS3 version stays very consistent. Another thing to mention is Aggro's AI. Starting out, Aggro is a little tricky to control. Not that she gets much better, but you typically adjust to her controls after a while. However, while this may seem to be a faulty AI, Aggro's actions were in fact intentional. Ueda wanted Aggro to act as much like a real horse as possible, and horses don't always follow commands. So she isn't going to work like a bike and turn when you want her to. She really has a mind of her own. However, she'll always be there if she can as Wander's sole companion during his quest. Normally, I like to say that graphics do not determine the overall entertainment and experience for a game. However, the graphics in Shadow of the Colossus are amazing and part of the experience and cannot go unsaid. Ueda desired to give the game a lonely hero atmosphere, and I'd say it definitely hit that, especially with the game's use of bloom and desaturated colors. And the details in the game are amazing! From the scenery of the Forbidden Lands to the details on each Colossus, I couldn't get over how damn gorgeous it looks! I really appreciate how the camera positions itself as Wander and Aggro race through the Forbidden Lands, forcing you to look at the scenery before you instead of focusing on the two moving forward. And with no other enemies to distract you or loading screens to cut you off, it gives you plenty of time to focus on the haunting beauty of the land. And again, I point out the detail of the Colossi. From the fur on their bodies to the ferocity in their eyes, these guys were perfectly designed. With the massive size of most of them, it was like they were scenery themselves as well. Moving scenery that's trying to throw you off and possibly kill you, but gorgeous to look at nonetheless. Also, the animation is incredible in the game. Wander's movements are very lifelike, from the way he stumbles after a jump to the way he struggles to hold onto the Colossus for dear life. Aggro's movements are also perfectly horse-like as she gallops through the field, and the Colossi are very impressive as well. The way the smaller ones move swiftly, how the bulkier ones stomp around and shake the earth, how graceful others swim through the water or sail through the sky. Great work, animators. Great work. The music for Shadow of the Colossus was composed by Keuthan, and it is really freaking gorgeous. The music in Shadow of the Colossus does a great job in setting the mood for whatever's going on at the time, save for when Wander is out in the field looking for the Colossi, in which none plays and you deal with ambient sounds. Not that that's a bad thing, unless you hate games that lack music for long periods of time. When the music kicks in though, it makes the silence worth it. It really sets you in a certain mood for the cutscene that is playing or the battle that is about to take place. When you enter the Colossus's domain, and it takes notice of your presence, the music reminds you just how small you are compared to them. You are about to face a gargantuan being that is not about to let you kill it for your own gain. You are practically a pathetic insect in comparison to them. This is their territory. You are an intruder. Then, you get on the Colossus, and the music picks up, and almost gives you a sense of accomplishment for getting that far. You can't stop now. You have to defeat this thing. You can do it. You will come out on top. You will save Mono. And no Colossus is gonna get in your way. Then, As you claim victory, a harmonious chorus sings as the creature falls. You won. You're one step closer. Luna's life soon will be restored. So, yes, the music is simply beautiful and works perfectly for letting you know what's going on and how you're supposed to feel. Absolutely beautiful. Shadow of the Colossus is definitely a unique action-adventure gaming experience and does a grand job at doing very much with so little. The visuals themselves are still amazing to look at, even more so with the remastered edition on the PS3, and the soundtrack works amazingly well in setting the mood of the events in the game. Each battle truly is a different experience than the others, so unless you've played it before, you likely won't know what to expect when you head into battle. And though it takes a while for major story events to kick in, the end of the game had me gawking at my screen in astonishment. Take that as you will. However, the game's use of minimalism may be a turn-off to some players, with the long and silent travels to the Colossi and only 16 battles in the game. The sort of cyclic style of gameplay may not sit well with everyone, and the fact that there's nothing to constantly keep you on the edge of your seat might bore some people. Also, the inconsistent frame rate on the PS2 version can be bothersome, and the controls for aggro can get frustrating. However, give it some patience and I think you will really enjoy this game. I say every gamer should give Shadow of the Colossus a run at least once. It really is a cinematic masterpiece and is solid proof that video games can in fact be a form of art. I'm certain that this title will continue to stand tall in the world of gaming for years to come. No pun intended. Well, that's all for me. Take care and have a good one, guys.